everyone, I'm Stella from Meeple University and this is Tarrant. We are behind a stack of games. 5 games in 30 minutes is back. We got very exciting games today from After Us, Sagrada Artisans, Sagrada Legacy, and we've got Herd Mentality, Woolies, and Beacon Patrol.
Yes, so we're going to take you quickly through them all and give you a review.
First, we have Beacon Patrol. This game is one of the newer releases from Pandasaurus Games. Plays 1 to 4 players. Although I think I've seen this game before it was released by Pandasaurus. I might be wrong. So this is a cooperative, fun tile laying game where we obviously laying the tiles, moving our boats to score the best points.
Yes, so the way this game will work, players will take it in turns. Everyone will have a hand of tiles which is face up, a certain amount of movement, and this will vary based on your player count. On your turn, you're trying to get essentially as many tiles down to explore as much of this ocean as possible. And you could you can do as many things as you can afford to do on your turn. So you can place a tile and you have to sail into it when you place it. You can flip over a movement token to move to an adjacent tile. And you could swap a tile with one other player. You can do that once per turn to try to get the tiles in the hands of the players who can best use them. There's land, which of course gets in the way of ships. I wouldn't legally be able to place this because I can't sail to it. I can't sail through the land. You also have to join up land with land and sea with sea, so that wouldn't be legal. If you end up unable to place a tile on your turn, you discard it and then you always draw 3 new tiles. The aim of the game ultimately, as I just set a couple things up here, is to, by the time the entire deck of cards is empty, deck of tiles is empty, you want to have explored as many tiles as possible to score them collectively. And you only score tiles which have all 4 sides filled in. So right now, this is the only tile which scores. You get a point for every tile, or 2 points if it has a buoy on it, or 3 points if it has a lighthouse or this beacon. So you're really trying to get the highest scoring tiles in the right places.
It's quite a fun tile laying game where you work out your moves. Okay, this tile is the one that I can use, but if I can't use it, how about if I swap with that? Because this will get bigger and you're probably going to be split out. Some boats or some players going to be on this side, another going to be on that side, and that's how you can strategize a little bit more later. And that's why exchanging tiles is probably more important a bit later because of the distance. You can only have 3 or 2 movement, and you need to be efficient. Otherwise, you will potentially discard the tiles, means that potentially less points for the team.
Yeah, I think this is really neat. It fits into. It's like playing solitaire. Not that there's a solo mode, but it's like playing a game of solitaire in that it's just a nice, gentle thing which you can use to pass the time and try to make the best of the tiles that you're dealt. So it's not a high strategy game or anything like that. It just fits that little solitaire level of play, and I quite like that. I think you could sit around the table, you could play this many times, just try to beat that high score. Yeah, it's clever. Simple rule set.
The only downside potentially, if you have an alpha player that would want to control, no, I want that tiles, give me that tiles, or I don't know, no, you have to put it here. You have to put it here, but...
That is true. All the information is public, so you just have to make sure that you're playing that appropriately. There is a mini expansion which comes with the game as well, or a couple of mini expansions, a couple other ways of scoring. Windmills, they like open sea.
And
piers like these buildings as well. So yeah, it adds a little extra challenge, a little extra thing to think about. Not that hard to jump straight in with that. Yeah, nice little game.
Next we have After Us. I think this is one of the hot Gen Con 2023 releases, and this plays 1 to 6 players by Pandasaurus Games, and the theme reminds me of Planet of the Apes, although it's not.
It's pretty close to. We've got some apes in a society beyond humans, but yes, this.
Sorry.
So this is a little deck building race, in effect, with a whole lot of icon and pattern matching. You'll start standard deck builder style. You'll start with your basic cards, and these are tamarins, and you will rearrange them in whatever order you want. So every turn you'll draw 4 of your cards and rearrange them. Then you'll resolve only the icons which are in a completed box. So sometimes the card just has a completed box. Other times you will need to match them up with adjacent cards. It's all about working out what is the most optimal way of doing that. The top row will give you resources. The middle row gives you ways of spending resources to get victory points, which is this intelligence light bulb. And then the bottom row, at the start of the game, it does nothing for you. But as you hold resources back, every turn you get to recruit new apes.
If you have resources.
If you have the resources. So it will cost 3 for a level 1 or 6 for a level 2 of a certain resource. And as you gain those and they enter your deck and start to circulate around, they will have various effects when you draw them and put them in. So down the bottom, you've got mandrills. Those largely give you new ways of gaining points. You've got orangutans who give you ways of getting a lot of energy. Energy gets spent using these old human artifacts here, like boom boxes and computers and so forth. And different also, benefits you can get.
Yeah, like that. Those ones as well for points.
Yep. The gorillas will generate rage. And rage is a mechanism by which you can trash your low value cards, keep your deck really thin and powerful. And then the chimpanzees, they're less specialized and they will copy other animals as you go through, other frames. The game is a race, so you will race around the board to 80 points, and whoever, at the end of the phase of a round where someone gets 80 points, whoever has the highest score wins.
As simple as that. I love deck building. And this one is such a great one. Now, this is a bit of multiplayer solitaire where everyone has got their own puzzle, but everyone also trying to work out what's the optimum strategy. And you look at this, well, the cards that you can purchase isn't actually available, but I think it's okay because can you imagine if this is flipped up? How much AP would a lot of people do? I think this is okay. And you can't really maximize it fully anyway. I mean, you've got so many cards in your deck and then you keep getting cards. So I'm okay with this face down with certain specialization. And it's just a wonderful feeling trying to combo everything on your card together and then trying to, okay, make sure, do you want to have enough of certain resource to get this, or do you want to get the power of the battery? Or there's also this one, simultaneous action selection is the one that gives you extra resources.
Yes, it will give you a bonus and then tell you which column
Correct.
you have to purchase from,
yeah,
or recruit from. Yeah, it is a very, very solitary game. Really, the interaction between players is pretty trivial in this game.
Yep.
Which normally I'm not. Normally I like some interaction, but for a game like this, joining these cards up, it's kind of fun. It does have this nice feeling to it. And because it is a limited length race, it does still put that urgency on. It makes you choose that time when you're going to swing from engine building to chasing for points. Bit of an Ecos feel in that way. I got Ecos vibes out of the progression of this game.
Also love Ecos, and Ecos has got a little bit more interaction though, with kind of like the bingo style. You're doing something out of your turn. This is, well, everyone doing it at the same time. This is why playing up to 6 players is okay. There are a little bit of interactions in terms of you can pay 2 different resources or 2 batteries or whatever to copy these actions on top of it of other players, but that's basically it. Just neighbors to your left or right and right. And artwork obviously very fancy, very great by Vincent Dutray.
I did feel when I was playing this that this is the kind of game which would work maybe a little better on Board Game Arena than it would in person, because so much of what's happening is automated or very simple yes/no decisions. And because everyone's kind of playing simultaneously, you could knock through a game really quickly. You wouldn't have to do all of the card sorting and so forth. Because really, the game would draw 4 cards for you. You pick the order. It would run through the top row for you. You would get yes/no questions on each of the subsequent rows. I think that would work really effectively. It's well designed for that.
That's right. And we have how to play videos, whether we have released it or not. Check the link in the description below. Oh yeah, really enjoyable game. I think everyone enjoys it very much. If you don't mind multiplayer solitaire, but hey, Tarrant usually not really into multiplayer solitaire, yet he enjoys it. So there you go. Saying a lot about this game, I reckon.
Indeed. And I like that there's different combinations of these object cards as well. Gives you different strategies that you can try with the energy, depending on what's out there.
And the theme, it is like, look, this is like the retro pictures. And then look, there's cable here. Just pretty cute. And here we have herd mentality. Plays 4+ players. It says in the title, herd mentality, whatever you do, don't stand out. That is basically the game.
Yes, this is an icebreaker party game, and it has this pink cow here. So yeah, it's a game of question and answer. So you would pick a card from this deck, read out that question to everybody. So here, would you put on underwear or socks first? Name a food that you would eat on Christmas Day, whichever one it is. All players would then write down their answer on one of these bits of paper or even just a scrap of paper. And your aim is to find the most common answer. So everyone will write it down, everyone will reveal, and whatever is the most common answer, players will get 1 point each if they've guessed it. And it's a race to be the first to 8 points, or whatever you want to play. Party games always a bit more liberal on that front.
Yeah.
If, however, you are the only person who has an odd out answer, so if you stand apart from the crowd and no other player stands apart from the crowd, you get the pink cow, either from the pen or from whoever has it at that time. And you cannot win the game while you have the pink cow. So
they're brutal. You get punished for being weird.
Yes, it just means there's always one player who, or after the first time it's released, there's always one player who is just hoping that someone else is going to take the cow away.
That's me. I had this a few times. But seriously, let's look back at this question. What should you put on first? Underwear or I thought this obvious.
I thought so too. Why would you put socks on first?
Exactly. I don't know. But, there are other questions. They are not multiple choices. Just this one. Name a food that you eat on Christmas Day. Ham.
I would have said turkey.
Oh, okay.
Not that I eat ham or turkey on Christmas Day. But
you used to do.
But it is chasing the most common answer.
Yeah. Sometimes the answer that I give is not the one that I would answer. I would think, okay, what would people think? Like, favorite ice cream. I wouldn't say peanut butter rainbow or something like, or connoisseur macadamia, whatever. But I don't know, vanilla, chocolate, Neapolitana, something that I think they want to hand me the pink cow.
Yes.
So this is a very fun game, and it's a icebreaker, as you said, and it creates a lot of talks at one game. Questions about the best Star Wars movie. Okay, write it down in the comments, by the way. What do you think is the best Star Wars movie? So after the answer, everyone's debating on their answer. So one person can say, no, it's this one because of this, and then the other person does the same. That was interesting. And then we stopped the game after that because people are more interested talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah, for me, I mentioned it as an icebreaker rather than a party game. I personally don't feel this stacks up very well as a party game because I think for me the fun in a party game is trying to be creative and trying to find something obscure and just enjoying that.
Tarrant.
So for me, a game like this where I'm trying to get the most common answer, it's actually quite dull for me.
Aww.
And so I felt that's why it works as an icebreaker, because it does generate some discussion and it generates talk.
And then when...
It doesn't generate creativity in the context of the game.
Fair enough, but if you want to stand out, just do what you do. Just be strange and then get this just for fun. Who cares about points, right? And it does feel good when you, keep matching up. It's like at one game, I think me and Henry keep matching up our answers. It's like the worst brand of car, Great Wall. And ice cream and a few things like, oh, okay, yeah, I got you. I'll get you, bro. But yeah, this is a fun game for me because it just creates conversations, an icebreaker, and that's head mentality. And the front box is also felt. It is, I don't know how dirty this would be. I would probably need to cover it with cling wrap or something, but it is felt, and it's a great idea.
The black parts are fuzzy, and felt, and that's a good way to get it to fly off the shelves. I'm sure it cost a little bit to make.
Probably. But... Have you played it? Because this was out a while back, so this is not brand new. I want to know your experience. Have you played mentality? Mentality. Mentality. Let us know. And with any other games that we talk about, have you played it? Have you heard of it? Do you want to get it? And just let us know you're there. Every single comments, you really help us. So, and I want to hear from you. Next game. And now we have Woolie. Woolie is a one-player game by Cranio Creations. And it is a bit more of a puzzle than a game, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty much a pure puzzle. The sort of thing, you don't see them that often in the stores these days. I always remember the game stores around Australia back through the 90s and early 2000s before Catan and Ticket to Ride really kicked off the hobby again. A lot of those stores were really full of puzzle games like Rush Hour and those things where you try to pull the two bits of metal apart. There was a lot more puzzle than there was competitive game.
They're still around though. You can still find them in game shops.
They're still around. I think they're not as large a proportion of the game shop as it used to be.
Okay.
But this is a pure puzzle by Cranio Creations, who of course does board games as well. And what you've got in this game is these jigsaw pieces that show sheep and flowers, and you've got a set of puzzles that you need to complete, and each of these is double-sided, and there's 3 difficulties. So here, this is the basic difficulty. You've got to create this 3x3 shape. The sheep have to all be in the correct orientation, the flowers and blanks have to all be there, and in this specific case you're not allowed to use any of the shapes of the pieces of this shape. And then you would try to work out how to line them up, essentially. These pieces are magnetic, which is nice for travel purposes. And then once you're done, you can check your answer over the other side. There's answers shown there. And then you can move on to the level 2 difficulty. These are in a 4x4 grid. And the highest difficulty, they'll use all the pieces on a 5x5 grid. That
is
that
basically
is Woolie.
a polyomino puzzle. If you like it, it's a fun one. If you like solo game, if you travel, doing on a plane, as you say, for travel, convenience is really convenient.
Yes. You should be able to simply just carry them all around like so, hold it up, try to work out how to make it fit. So
it's a game on its own. And then you just drop it. So sad.
They didn't fall off.
That's true. Or you can punch something here and then put it as a bag.
Yep, carry it around your neck on a lanyard. You're waiting in the queue at a convention with your Woolie around the...
Oh, yeah. Ooh,
Hang it on a reindeer's antlers. Nothing.
So, Woolie it is. I am not so good at polyomino spatial rotation. I think this is fine for me. This is fine for a solo experience. If, you want to fiddle around. My hands is quite fiddly. I like to fiddle with something like this. But the good thing is that it's no pressure. So there's no timer.
No timer, just a puzzle to solve.
And ta-da! This is nothing. Yeah, and it's double-sided as well, look.
Yes. Yes, you've got the 3x4 or the 3x3 side and the 5x5 side.
Yep.
And then on the other side, you've got the 4x4.
Ah, there you go. So, as I say, this is a game on its own, trying to fit this together. I know that I'll be doing not so goodly in this. Not so goodly, but oh, there you go. This is so bad. What is this? Anyways, Woolie. And last but not least, we have Sagrada Artisans, which is the legacy version of Sagrada. Plays 2 to 4 players by Falcke Games.
Yes, so because this is a legacy game, we can't take you through everything. There's many things that have to remain
secret,
closely guarded secrets
embargo.
At this point.
Yeah.
But we'll show you what we can here. So this is a 10 scenario campaign that plays through Sagrada. It plays instead of like the original game where you would draft the dice and stack them onto your windows, now the game is played by means of essentially a roll and write. You'll draft dice and then you will reflect what you've drafted in your journal. And so this is the first one. I'm not going to spoil anything beyond the first one, but this is very similar to the base game of Sagrada. It comes with objectives and ability, so private and public objectives, similar to the way the original game worked. And you would draw the dice
and draft them.
Roll them onto the board, make sure they're all different, and draft them in a snake draft order in a pretty typical way. Once you've drafted something, you have the same sorts of restrictions going into these grids as you usually do. You can place the first one anywhere, and each subsequent one has to be placed orthogonally or diagonally adjacent to something you've already placed. And there are some placement restrictions, both in terms of windows which can only be certain colours or certain numbers, and the fact that you cannot have the same colour touching an edge or the same number touching an edge. And as you get on through the game, that's going to become more and more restrictive. If this were the 3, I would use my black pencil to write the 3, and then I would shade it in with the red pencil. As you play through the game, you're going to start to unlock more and more rules, more and more tools and helpful things. So there's a whole box of stories, objectives, and extra rules which you will go through. And then from scenario to scenario, you'll build up new tools which will give you special bonuses.
And let's have a look at the rule book there, because there are spaces obviously for stickers. In terms of legacy games, that is quite common, where you add more rules, add the stickers there, and there you go. So
you can see places for new rule stickers.
And so on.
Yes.
So there's definitely additional things.
There's a whole set of envelopes which will be opened at specific times during the game. So these will add new rules.
There's also one big envelope there. I don't want to spoil things accidentally. So there's particular things. So that's basically it. Sorry, I'm going to make sure that I open it. Yeah, that's correct. There you go. So you can do also lose some points to put so the dice not adjacent to each other and so on. Yeah. This is really cute. The journal is really cute.
Yes. The game also comes with some window pattern boosters. These sit outside the campaign, and we are allowed to show you some of the things that are inside here. So you'll see that there are some very creative shapes that are going to come into play in this. So it gives you lots of new and exciting things that you can do with your Sagrada game.
I am also itching to colour in the rest of it around the windows. I think that's just intended for that. I think the rest of them has got that colouring area. And I feel like bringing out my other colour and pencil. It's only like 5 is not enough, hey, for me.
So the game, look, it has a very reminiscent feel of Sagrada,
but roll and write.
Turning it into a roll and write, that's a big step back for me.
Oh, yeah?
I think it makes this a whole lot fiddlier. The fact that there's colouring in and numbers to write adds to the difficulty of playing it. It makes it one of the more fiddly roll and writes that I've played. And you add to that, you look at this grid here. This can only be yellow, for example, and that's represented by a shaded yellow. But when I fill something in, I'm also shading it yellow. So I've got to remember that this yellow with no number is empty, while a yellow with a number that I've created myself is not empty.
Yeah, but that's like easy, isn't it? Like there's a color and a number means that it is filled out. If it's just a number or the color, then it's empty.
There's a way of remembering, but it doesn't pop.
Yeah,
I find that kind of
a little bit harder.
Makes it harder to interpret what's going on. And I didn't like that.
Okay.
And I found that the time I spent colouring things in between my turns, there was just a lot of, it's not downtime per se, but it's just upkeep time. So Sagrada was a game that, for me, it was always just fine. I never loved it. I didn't dislike it. It was just kind of an average game. And then this introduces a number of things that just slows it down and bogs it down for me. So I didn't really enjoy it.
Okay.
The purple pencil didn't match the purple of the book as well. That was, it was a much bluer purple. Just little things like that kind of got in the way of gameplay.
All right, so I don't mind Sagrada. I quite enjoy Sagrada, the original, with the dice drafting. And I find colouring is soothing, could be soothing. I can understand why it could be bogging down or slowing down the games. But if everyone's just doing that at the same time, if in between turns, then you'll colour in the rest of it while waiting for opponents, then that might be okay. I do like also the first player marker. It is a pencil sharpener, the shape of Sagrada.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Sagrada lovers would probably enjoy this game if you want to take it to the next level, and with new rules, if you're so used to the basic rules, and these new rules and new variations would probably be exciting. And Tarrant is like every time.
I keep getting edgy every time. It's like, no, we can't show that.
Maybe we can by now. Yeah, I know, like
teasing us.
Okay. Yeah. Tarrant, yeah, he's teasing you. So that is it. Let us know if you are a big fan of Sagrada, if you are looking forward for Sagrada Artisans, or you have played it, if you backed it, let us know compared to the basic Sagrada. You agree with Tarrant. I don't mind that. It's the soothing thing, but if you want to really play it really quickly, it does slows down the game in that part. But other than that, I still think it's a fun game, and the exciting new rules that introduced to it if you're used to the base game. That's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and again, every single like, comments and views help, and make sure you're doing something fun today, like maybe playing Sagrada the basic one, playing other games, maybe gardening, making pancake. I don't know. I feel like pancake. Hopefully we'll see you next time.